Arrival on Craig's Reach. The shuttle descended through Craig's Reach like a stone dropping into hell. Rachel Ortiz gripped her harness as the craft bucked and shuddered, its hull screaming against atmospheric friction that could melt tungsten. Outside the viewport, lightning the color of old blood tore across skies thick with ash and ammonia clouds. This wasn't a planet. It was a warning. Remind me again why they chose this place for a diplomatic summit? Henry Wade muttered, his knuckles white against the armrest. Because predators don't do diplomacy in comfortable places, Kira Song said calmly, though her eyes tracked every violent shake of the shuttle. They test you before they talk to you. Leon Gray laughed, actually laughed, as another lightning strike illuminated something massive moving through the clouds below. Well, they're about to find out humans are really good at tests. The pilot's voice crackled through the intercom. Translated from Vrexian clicking, human delegation, we are approaching the landing zone. Atmospheric hostility, extreme. Ground predator activity, constant. Survival probability without proper equipment, 4%. Welcome to Craig's Reach. Rachel caught Leon's eye and grinned. 4%? That's practically a vacation. The shuttle broke through the lower cloud layer, and the world revealed itself. Craig's Reach was beautiful in the way a hurricane was beautiful, terrible, chaotic, and utterly indifferent to life. Crystalline forests stretched across volcanic plains, their branches sharp as razors and pulsing with bioluminescent warnings. Rivers of something that wasn't quite water, cut through stone that wasn't quite rock. The gravity was 1.4 Earth standard. The air was breathable, but only just. Everything here had evolved to kill to survive, to dominate. Perfect for a predator summit. Through the viewport, Rachel could see the landing zone, a massive platform of bonded alloys, surrounded by energy barriers that crackled with enough power to vaporize anything that got too close. Beyond the barriers, shapes moved in the crystal forests, things with too many legs, too many eyes, too many teeth, but it was what stood on the platform that made Henry lean forward. My God, he whispered. The delegates were already there. The Catharan stood 9 feet tall, their exoskeletons black as space, mandibles capable of shearing through starship plating, apex predators from a world where only the strong survived infancy. The Vrex coiled on their platforms, serpentine bodies armored in scales that had evolved to deflect plasma. They'd hunted in packs before they'd learned to speak. The Thulkar were living mountains of muscle and fury, their homeworld a place where gravity crushed and only the relentless endured. And a dozen other species, each one a nightmare pulled from the galaxy's most hostile worlds. Each one a predator that had clawed its way to sentience through blood and survival. The shuttle touched down with a metallic groan. Last chance to back out, Rachel said, though she was already unbuckling her harness. And miss this? Henry stood adjusting his glasses, a nervous habit he'd never broken. I've spent my whole career studying predator psychology. This is like Predator Comic-Con. Kira smiled despite herself. Just remember, we're not here to prove we're stronger. We're here to prove we belong. Leon hefted their supply pack. Then let's show them what soft-skinned Deathworlders can do. The shuttle's ramp descended with a hiss of hydraulics. Craig's Reach hit them like a physical force, the gravity pulling at their bones, the air tasting of ozone and something sulfuric, the sounds of things hunting and dying in the forests beyond the barriers. Rachel stepped out first, her combat boots ringing on the metal platform. She didn't reach for the plasma rifle on her hip. Instead, she squared her shoulders and walked forward with the confidence of someone who'd survived worse than this. The other delegates turned to watch Rachel. Could feel their eyes. Dozens of predator species. Evaluating, judging, calculating. She could hear the translations crackling through the universal comm system. The humans have arrived. Look how small they are. No natural weapons. No armor. How did they even survive their world? A Catharan delegate clicked its mandibles in what might have been amusement or contempt. Humans. The galaxy's strangest Deathworlders. They say Earth is a Class 9 hostile world, yet its dominant species looks like prey. Rachel stopped at the designated human zone and turned to face the assembly. Henry, Kira, and Leon took positions beside her. Not behind her, beside her. A unit, the Summit Arbiter, a massive Thulkar whose scars told a story of 1,000 battles, stepped forward. His voice was thunder given form. The Predator Summit convenes. For 3 cycles we discuss the Deathworld problem. Why our kind struggles with chaos while lesser prey species thrive in order. You have been invited because Earth is chaos incarnate, yet humanity endures. He paused, his eyes fixed on Rachel. Prove you belong among predators, humans. Or Craig's reach will prove you do not. The platform fell silent except for the howling wind and the distant screams of things dying in the crystal forests. Rachel. Ortiz smiled. Not a predator's smile of dominance, but something the galaxy had rarely seen. A human smile of genuine warmth. We're not here to prove we're predators, she said clearly, her voice carrying across the platform. We're here to show you that survival isn't about being the strongest. She looked at each delegate in turn. It's about being the smartest, the most adaptable, and most importantly, the most willing to work together. Henry stepped forward. We'd like to begin by understanding each of you, Kira added. Your languages, your cultures, your fears, Leon finished. Because that's what humans do best. We listen, we learn, we solve. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, from somewhere in the assembly, a Vrex delegate made a sound that the translator interpreted as interesting. The summit had begun, and the galaxy was about to learn what the soft fangs truly meant. The first test, the assembly chamber, was a dome of reinforced crystal that magnified Craig's Reach's violence into art. Lightning storms painted the walls with shifting shadows. The howls of hunting packs echoed through the structure like a savage symphony. Inside, the predators argued. The Deathworld problem is simple, growled Thraknor, the Thulkar arbiter. His fist slammed onto the council stone, cracking it. Our worlds breed strength. We conquer, we dominate. Yet when we meet civilized space, we struggle. We fragment. We fail where weaker species succeed. Why? A Catheran named Srath clicked her mandibles. Because the soft worlds don't understand hierarchy. They create systems that reward weakness, cooperation over competition. It makes us uncomfortable. It makes us weak, hissed a Vrex coiled on his platform. We are predators trying to live in a prey-designed galaxy. Rachel listened, seated with her team in the human section. Every species had their own zone. Territorial instinct ran deep among predators. But she noticed something the others might have missed. The way each delegate kept distance from the others. The tension in their postures. They weren't just sitting apart. They were guarding against each other. Henry leaned close, whispering, See how they structure the debate? It's all dominance displays. No one's actually listening, Kira nodded. Each statement is a challenge. They're competing even now in what's supposed to be a cooperative summit. Leon murmured, That's the problem right there. A hulking Draxcar, a species that looked like a bear had been crossed with a tank and given anger issues, rose to speak. Perhaps the humans have insight. Their world is rated Class 9 hostile. More dangerous than 12 species here. Yet they built civilization. They reached the stars. He turned to face Rachel, his eyes burning. Tell us, human, how does prey survive in a predator's body? The chamber fell silent. Rachel stood slowly, feeling every eye track her movement. Predator instinct. She didn't make herself bigger or puff out her chest. Instead, she did something that made several delegates shift uncomfortably. She smiled. You're asking the wrong question, Rachel said. We're not prey in a predator's body. We're both, and that's exactly why we survive. Esrath's mandibles clacked skeptically. Explain. Rachel gestured to Henry, who stood and pulled up a holographic display. Earth rotated in the center of the chamber, blue, green, swirling with white clouds. Earth is chaos, Henry began, his scientist's voice steady and clear. We have megafauna that can kill us with a single strike. Microorganisms that can devastate populations. Weather systems that level cities. Tectonic activity that reshapes continents. He zoomed in on various regions. Deserts that boil you alive. Tundras that freeze you solid. Jungles so dense with life that everything is either poisonous, venomous, or trying to eat you. Yet you survived, Thraknor rumbled. How? Because we didn't survive alone, Kira said, standing. Humans are pack animals. We're not the strongest, so we learned to hunt in groups. We're not the fastest, so we learned persistence hunting. Tracking prey for days until it collapsed. We're not the most armored, so we learned to make tools, weapons, shelters. She pulled up images. Ancient humans around fires teaching each other. Building together. Hunting together. We survived because we had something most apex predators don't develop. Complex social cooperation. A Vrex delegate hissed. Pack hunting is not unique. Many of us hunt in groups. But do you trust your pack? Leon asked, stepping forward. The engineer's question hung in the air like a blade. Silence. Leon continued. Human packs don't just hunt together. We depend on each other. A human alone in the wilderness has maybe a 30% survival rate. But humans together? We've conquered every environment on our planet. We've gone to our moon. We've sent probes beyond our solar system. He paused. Not because we're strong. Because we're cooperative. Cooperation is weakness, Sarath snapped. It means you cannot survive alone. Rachel shook her head. No. It means we're smart enough to know we don't have to. Before anyone could respond, the chamber's alarms screamed to life. The crystal walls flashed red. The energy barriers surrounding the platform flickered and died. And from the forest beyond, something massive roared, a sound that made even the Thulkar flinch. The Arbiter's voice boomed. Barrier failure! Craig's Reach apex predators incoming. Through the crystal walls, Rachel saw them emerging from the forests, creatures that made nightmares look friendly. 20 feet tall, covered in crystalline armor that grew from their bodies with jaws that could swallow a Catharan whole. Rift Stalkers. The reason Craig's Reach had no permanent settlements, the delegates erupted into chaos. To arms, Thraknor roared. Defensive positions. Sarath shrieked. Species scrambled for their weapons, their zones, their territories. The cooperation of the summit dissolved in seconds as predator instinct took over. Survive. Dominate, protect yourself first. But Rachel was already moving, not away from the threat, but toward her team. Henry. How many? Seismic sensors show 12. No, 15 contacts converging on our position. Kira, can we communicate with them? Their vocal structure is too alien. These things are presentient. Pure instinct. Leon options? The engineer was already at a terminal, fingers flying. The barriers failed because something disrupted the power grid. If I can reroute from the auxiliary generators, and how long? 3 minutes. Maybe 4. Rachel's mind raced. The Rift Stalkers would reach them in 2. She grabbed the comm system and broadcast to the entire chamber. All delegates. I need you to listen. Most ignored her, too focused on preparing their own defenses, their own survival. But Thraknor turned, and a few others followed his gaze. Rachel spoke fast. These creatures hunt by vibration and heat signature. If we scatter, they'll pick us off one by one. That's how they evolved to hunt. But if we work together, we can survive this. Why should we trust you? A Draxkar bellowed. Because I'm not asking you to trust me, Rachel shot back. I'm asking you to trust the math. 15 predators versus 37 delegates. Scattered, we lose. Together, we live. A Vrex delegate hissed, What do you propose? Rachel's smile was sharp now. Not predatory, but determined. We do what humans do best. We turn chaos into strategy. She pointed to different species. Catharan, your exoskeletons can withstand their bite. You're our front line. Thulkar, you're strong enough to grapple them. You're our anchors. Vrex, you're fast, flanking attacks, hit and retreat. Draxkar, you can generate sonic attacks, that'll disorient them. And humans? Sarath asked, skepticism dripping from every syllable. We coordinate, Henry said, already pulling up tactical displays. We adapt, Kira added, analyzing the creature's movement patterns. We solve, Leon finished, still working to restore the barriers. The first Rift Stalker slammed into the outer platform, its roar shaking the chamber. Rachel looked at Thraknor. Your choice, Arbiter. Do we survive as predators? Alone, territorial, dominant? The second Rift Stalker appeared, then a third. Or do we survive as something better? For 3 heartbeats, nothing happened. Then Thraknor raised his fist. Catharan!
Frontline!
Thulkar with me. Sarath's mandibles clacked. Was that a laugh?
Vrex flanking formation!
The Draxkar roared. Sonic weapons, ready! Rachel felt something shift in the chamber. Not surrender. Not submission, trust. Henry, feed tactical data to all delegates. Rachel commanded. Kira, analyze their attack patterns and broadcast weaknesses. Leon, I need those barriers. Working on it. The Rift Stalkers hit the platform like a tsunami of teeth and claws and crystalline fury. And for the first time in galactic history, the Predator Summit fought not as individual species competing for dominance. They fought as a team. Catharan warriors formed a shield wall, their exoskeletons absorbing devastating blows. Thulkar grabbed limbs and held, their incredible strength anchoring the creatures. Vrex struck from the sides, their plasma weapons finding gaps in crystalline armor. Draxkar's sonic pulses disoriented and confused. And the humans? Rachel directed. Henry analyzed. Kira communicated. Leon worked miracles. Riftstalker Alpha is favoring its left side, old injury. Kira called out. Catharan Squad 3, exploit that weakness. Rachel transmitted. Thermal signature shows another wave incoming from the east, Henry warned. Vrex teams intercept before they reach the main group. It was chaos. It was violence. It was beautiful. Because it was chaos transformed into coordination. 3 minutes and 47 seconds after the first attack, Leon's voice cracked through the comm. Barriers up. The energy field snapped back into existence with a sound like thunder. The Riftstalkers, caught mid-attack, slammed into the barrier and recoiled, roaring in frustration. Inside the dome, 37 delegates stood breathing hard, wounded but alive, every single one. The chamber was silent except for heavy breathing and the diminishing roars of frustrated Riftstalkers retreating into the crystal forests. Thraknor turned to Rachel. His face was unreadable, his massive chest heaving. Then he did something no Thulkar had ever done to another species. He bowed his head. Not in submission. In respect, the soft skins are named well, he rumbled. But you are not weak. Sirath clicked her mandibles, definitely a laugh this time. The soft fangs, you don't tear with teeth. You solve with minds. A Vrex delegate uncoiled slightly. You coordinated us. Species that have never fought together. You made us cooperate in minutes. That's not special to humans, Rachel said, catching her breath. That's available to all of you. You just have to choose it. The Draxkar who'd questioned her earlier stepped forward. His voice was quieter now. You said humans are both prey and predator. I understand now. You have predator instincts, but you choose when to use them, and when to use something else. Henry adjusted his cracked glasses. The Deathworld problem isn't about predators versus prey. It's about understanding that the strongest survival trait isn't fangs or claws. Kira continued. It's adaptability, cooperation, empathy. Leon finished. It's knowing when to fight, when to think, and when to work together. Thraknor looked around the chamber at the other delegates, species that had barely tolerated each other's presence hours ago. Now they stood together, wounded but alive, having survived something none could have faced alone. Perhaps, he said slowly, the prey species galaxy is not weak after all. Perhaps they simply learned this lesson before we did. He turned back to Rachel. What else can you teach us, Soft Fangs? Rachel smiled, tired, genuine, and utterly human, everything. If you're willing to learn. Outside, Craig's Reach raged on, a world of chaos and violence and death. But inside the crystal dome, something new was beginning. The predators were learning to listen. End of part 2.